Now, you know the film Gladiator? There's a scene in that which is about a quarter of the way through, and it's the scene where Russell Crowe has been enlisted almost forcefully by the late Oliver Reed, and it's the first kind of battle scene that takes place in the Emporium. And Russell Crowe's kind of waiting at the gate, and there's a bunch of guys with him who also have been essentially forcefully recruited at sort of sword point to go in and take part in this battle. And as they're waiting there, they look out through the slats of the gates, which is just about to open as they enter their doom. And there's a guy outside, a great big guy with a sort of big helmet on with horns, I think, if I remember correctly. And he's swinging a mace above his head. You know those old-fashioned maces, the kind of metal ball with spikes on that's on the end of a chain, horrible looking thing, probably weighs a ton. But this big guy's just swinging it with ease above his head, swinging and swinging and swinging. And then eventually this one guy who's standing next to Russell Crowe just completely pisses his pants out of fear, and the gate opens and they all charge out, and unfortunately one of them cups it straight in the face, and that's the end of him. I think it was the aforementioned wetting pants guy. Now just picture that image in your head of that guy swinging that mace, and I'll come back to that in a moment. All will be relevant to that, but this is just the image that pops up in my head when I when I think about what happened the other day. Now, rage in gaming. Now when I think about me with gaming and my sort of rage element, it has actually calmed down quite a lot. I still have my moments. It has to almost be quite to the extreme when when I lose my shit and get really annoyed with Call of Duty, enough to shout or scream or throw something, I don't know. And you know, some people don't get that. Some people aren't cut from the same cloth as me and other people. You know, some people say, how can you get mad with it? It's just a game. I don't understand where that sort of inner rage comes from. The thing is with me is I'm quite a sort of ragey guy anyway. Obviously I sort of discussed a while ago about my anxiety disorder, which I suddenly found out was the cause to all my problems. Well, there could be a lot of factors that have led up to that. You know, the death of my father, little things like that just sort of tip you over the edge a little bit. Plus, you know, the point that a long time ago I was mad into the steroids, and that really screws your head up. You know, somebody even, I was quite shocked after somebody watched that commentary about me talking about my steroid abuse, that somebody came forward and said, oh, I've watched your commentary, I'm thinking about doing steroids, what do you think? And it's like, did you not watch the commentary? Don't do steroids. They don't just affect you in the short term, they can affect you in the long term. And I think because I was quite a fiery character anyway, and then I had this extra testosterone boost which made me almost kill somebody at some point, it's like, no, you just don't do it. So yeah, I think over time that sort of has manifested in my head along with a series of events in my life, and unfortunately it doesn't matter how much of a strong person you are, these things can tip you over the edge. So since discovering what my, I suppose it's a mental disorder, since discovering that and realising what I needed to do, the doctor put me on a prescription of some drugs which can help mellow it and bring you down, actually give you more of a positive outlook on life. But unfortunately you still have those key moments where you lose control. Now last week I was supposed to make a sort of repeat prescription, like a repeat visit to the doctors. I was supposed to take this slip of paper and say, yeah, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, where I restock my tablets effectively. And unfortunately there was such a queue, I thought, no, I'll come back to it and I'll do it another day, and I forgot. So I woke up one morning, went to take my medication, and there was none there. I was like, shit, this is not good, because you're not supposed to come off these things, almost instantly. You're supposed to wean yourself off them like you do with any drug, really. Now, unfortunately, that meant for 2 days I didn't have my medication. And that's where sort of like the problem started, because when I think about Call of Duty, the thing that enrages me the most out of anything, connection, the things that are there that shouldn't be there, overpowered weaponry, whatever you want to look at in that game and say, that can be the thing that can break the flow of the game. The one thing that makes me angrier more than anything is people. It's just people, don't hate the player, hate the game. No, fuck off, I'm hating the player. I'm hating the player more than anything. And it's a kind of an amalgamation of the two. It's teammates and it's the opposition. Now, I was playing some Modern Warfare 2 the other night, and I combined this with a little bit of alcohol, quite a lot of alcohol actually, but yeah, I was drinking and I was playing. They say don't drink and drive, don't drink and play. It's just a bad idea. If you're kind of one of these people that's on the edge, don't drink alcohol and play Call of Duty. It's a bad move. Well, I broke that rule, and I sat and I played some Modern Warfare 2, and unfortunately, the net doomer router aside, you're still going to face issues where you're playing against people from far and wide. And one of the biggest things I find with Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 that frustrates me more is I have to play against a lot of French people. Now, I'm not hating the French, I don't hate the French whatsoever, I just find that the way they play a game is always in the most cheapest possible way. I'm not saying they all do it, but it seems like the majority of people do it, and the majority of people I come across on Modern Warfare 2 who are French generally find themselves pitched up in a room with the one-man army, danger close class and noob tubes, and they do it in groups. You know, even when they don't know each other, you find them all hoarded up in groups and you are just blowing up constantly. Now, I had kind of like a half-hour episode of this and I could feel myself bubbling up, you know, I could feel the red mist coming over in my face where, you know, your head feels like it's going to pop. So I had to kind of stop that and I moved over to some free-for-all, which is normally a little bit more relaxing. It's down to yourself, it's just you and them, and I like that. However, the problem is there were snipers everywhere. You know, free-for-all in Modern Warfare 2 is just a sniper fest. I don't know how there are so many quickscopers out there, but there are. They really do dominate. Now, my temperament with the sort of episode of free-for-all I playing was starting to bubble up again, because it didn't matter what I did, I was getting trick-shotted, quickscoped, and it was starting to get to the point where I was raging. So I turned it off. Modern Warfare 2 had to come out. Sometimes you can play it, sometimes you just simply cannot. I took it out of the equation and I put in Black Ops 2, which was probably the straw that broke the camel's back. Because we had more snipers, in fact actually more snipers than I found on Modern Warfare 2. Black Ops 2 is the new Modern Warfare 2 with snipers. But it was the way they were playing, you know, with the tactical insertions. You'd kill a guy. I do this a lot. I kill a guy, I see his tactical insertion and I'm waiting for him to spawn, and almost to the speed of light these guys spawn, they switch straight over to their Cap 40 or their B230 pistol and just spray for the hills. They don't even know where you are, they just spray in every direction and somehow they get that hit. You know, even when you're ready for them, you've got the advantage, they still get that hit, and it kept on happening. Now, my teammates were about as useful as a chocolate fireguard as well, and I was finding I was getting shot in the back, and you know when you get these kills and somebody shoots you but you can see your teammate behind him, you can actually see your teammate running up behind him and he sort of has a little think about it before he shoots him, probably takes a sip of his drink, strokes his dog, puts some bread in the toaster and then thinks, yeah, I'm going to kill him now, it's now that time, oh he killed my teammate, it doesn't matter. I get that a lot, and that's another element of sort of people that frustrate me. Teammates and enemies, the way people play and how lackluster your teammates can be. Now, the culmination of alcohol, lack of medication and the complete rage of the way people were playing this game forced me to unplug my Xbox 360 controller, open the front door, walk outside, and just like that thing in Gladiator that I talked about earlier, if you imagine I've got a wired controller, I was holding it by the wire and I was swinging it above my head, round and round and round and round, and then it just took one great big smash to the floor where it bust in about 50 pieces and then I threw it down the road. Neighbour from hell, effectively. I've sort of resigned to the fact that I'm not a very good neighbour, but yeah, this was probably about 1 o'clock in the morning where I just swung it and let go like I was in the Highland Games, hoping to get the furthest world record launch of a controller. Now obviously when I came back in I was really annoyed about that because that was my only Xbox controller, so that pissed me off, and it was only about 3 weeks old, which I wasn't too happy about. So I thought, well, that's screwed it, that's the Xbox gameplay over, and instead of turning it off and just having something to eat and getting my head down and sleeping, I thought, no, I'm going to conquer the gaming world. I need to get some reimbursement for the amount of rage that I have just expressed. I need to have a good game. I need to have a couple of good games to make me go to sleep and be happy, because like I said before, I am just super competitive and it's like an illness. So I put on the PlayStation 4. Now I have took sterling care of my PlayStation 4 and the controller and everything. Even in my worst moments I place it down and I step outside and take a breath of fresh air, but not today. The damage had been done. And you know, the two Call of Duty games I've got for the PlayStation 4 is Call of Duty Ghosts and Advanced Warfare. Probably the worst two you can possibly play if you're not in a good mood anyway. Now the frame rate drops on Call of Duty Ghosts were enough to start to get me rolled up again, and I had to kind of stop playing that. There was a lot of thermal LMG action going on, so I stopped that and I went over to Advanced Warfare. What a move, what a bum move. You do not finish a rage session on Advanced Warfare. And yes, suffice to say, the ASM one, the boost jumping, everything was just so annoying, and especially as I had to sort of download an update, which I thought was probably going to be some sort of relevant patch. It was the tip of the iceberg that left me to the point of just throwing my controller towards my PlayStation 4 and it sort of bounced off, and straight away I thought, whoa, that's just wrong, I shouldn't have done that. I went over, I checked my PlayStation 4, it was fine. I picked up my controller and my left analog stick was stuck in the left hand position. It was stuck and it wouldn't move, and I kind of, you know, forcefully pulled it left and right, and then eventually it sort of cracked, moved into place, and then was as floppy as a man after 15 pints of lager waiting to get his jiggy on with the girl of his dreams, and suddenly realised he just can't raise the flag. Fucking stupid, dumb Brit. That's all I've got to say for myself. So that's what makes me rage more than anything, you know? So what's the thing that flicks your switch the most? What's the button that can be pressed in Call of Duty that makes you more angrier than anything? Is it the game? Is it the weapons? Is it the imbalance? Is it some of the kill streaks? Or is it just pure teammates and enemies? Or maybe teammates or enemies? Thanks for watching. Apocalypse done.